I am trying to get in the habit of doing these. I've been having all kinds of seizures and numbness in my face. Rose here, Pan is there, and then Moocher's over there. Bowie's over there. Don't be fooled by the cozy surroundings. I mean, that tends to be kind of the colonial issue as usual, isn't it? Which is that this place is full of so much domestic violence in our home. Ow. And I'm trying to make these videos when I can, but the problem is usually there are people here that if I speak, or my partner, 15 years, speaks, it gets violent, y'all, so fast. And so, firstly, like, you know, Gway, I hope y'all are doing well. I'll probably not be doing this for very long. Like I said, I've been just trying to get back in the habit slowly. Most of the reason why I haven't is because seizures. For people that don't know why I have seizures, back when I was a little kid growing up outside of Pottstown, Boston, Massachusetts territory, Massachusetts, you know, being born in 1983 and being one of the few indigenous families in Arlington, once called Menatomi, the home of still the very racist Menatomi indigenous statue and all the I'm not singing right now. I know some people are like, oh, ow. And all the racist iconography that goes along with that. You can hear about that on the Rouge Sublet, LeRougeSublet.com. If you go to the first article for Kepteke-Wikus, which is how you say November, in Mi'kmaq, that goes into it, along with having a bunch of cute pictures of me when I was much younger, and, you know, back when I was assigned as female and visually looked different. I don't think having a beard has anything to do with anyone's gender, but, you know, this is what life decides right now. On that note, for anybody else that has nerve damage stuff going on, Arnica, like, well, Alan, Mikish, mom, she had me start using Arnica for a lot of my body pains at an early age. I'm entirely thankful for that. It still helps. My mixed family, trusting little white boys, to be friends with little white boys, and trying to talk to them about the reality of one's life. When the school system, you know, gets to the age where they start teaching kids history in certain ways, be it nowadays with, you know, still lying to people about, you know, how slavery actually is, or, you know, how indigenous life actually is. It teaches kids at a very early age, in the case of the kids that I knew growing up who were my neighbors, it's not like I could really avoid them, to grow up to be Minutemen. And by Minutemen, I mean, you know, the original militia for the Pottstown area. What was the Minutemen's first thing to do? Not fight the British, kill indigenous people. So I have nerve damage because of the amount of physical trauma. Oh, like I said, I'm doing this wrong. Also, when I don't have my partial in, I have like 5 teeth in it. So all this has been healing. I'd love to say it's because of medical aid. Yes, I got so much tooth shrapnel pulled out of my face. Finally, after, you know. Ow. I've joked with that dentist about that. But they are in Sandston, at Sandston Comprehensive Dentistry, which is in Henrico. It's an area which, once again, I talked with this dentist about when I was there getting all this work done on my face. So I'll into that. It's an area that still uses Pocahontas as a mascot. For those of you that don't know, Henrico is where Pocahontas was. The trigger warning, y'all, like, if this wasn't already triggering, I get it. Make it a little more so. Meskeyi. They use her as a mascot on all of their government properties. So that means, you know, things like municipal boards for schools, libraries, fire department, police department, animal shelters, also things like, all the signage they have that is anti-homeless, all the trash cans. They have a really racist bright orange version. But the thing is, that area is actually where when she was stolen as a teenager, and her just married to a husband, indigenous husband, was murdered. She was kept in Henrico, where she was trafficked, violated, and abused for years before being non-consensually married off to John Rolfe, because you can't consent to marriage when you're kidnapped. I don't know why Henrico doesn't understand. They do. I've sent many emails. And I'm talking to many people out there who, despite once being friends with me, it is a problem. But so, got this work on, really thankful for it. Doesn't change the fact that the area is massively racist. And now I am here in this area that is literally named after one of the people that attempted to, firstly, all the scalping bounties against only Mi'kmaq people. And then, because that wasn't, I guess doing the trick of killing us all off, also followed that up by, besides just upholding that, trying to, destroy us through genocidal warfare. Because they were a genocidal maniac. That person's name is Amherst, genocidal Jeffrey Amherst. Amherst, this area, he never came down here. This place is literally named after them for them being the conqueror of Canada. Have I talked to people in this area about it? Yes. Have I visited the Monacan Nation, which is the nation, this is actually the area in those pictures you see, which are from Morning Day. When I was out with my partner, Bibi, engaging with and singing with and dropping off cornmeal to and other blessings to and thanks to one of the many streams and rivers in Kuntum, the mountain there, mountains. I have visited Monacan Nation. I appreciate their museum. I would love to talk to them more. I think we may have a problem with the fact that I have questions about them attempting to disenroll elders and make them homeless. So in addition to just checking in about that, for the people that are like, what can we do to get you out of this situation where you're surrounded by constant domestic violence in the house that you're in, and therefore, if people come home, Mujo may jump up barking because he's used to being terrified. And we're working sure these guys are also safe. Rose still with us. Rose, the cat that was in Henrico, who was being left to die slowly alone on a porch over the span of years. I am going to slowly put up more of the article about him. It's just really painful and heartbreaking to write and those videos because I can't feel his paws. I understand. Ow. His stomach is getting much better. He doesn't throw up all the time because of the fact that he was left to just eat the roots of ivy. His nerve just doing the best they can. He also was in that space. We were hoping, the people that we knew, they always said keep an eye on him. Mujo, be nice. I know it's that time of day. That's why you have busy tours. It's one of those things where I really wish we lived also in a space that was safe to just let these guys go outside and do really what they want to do. But a lot of the neighbors also in the area are massively, concerningly problems. Neighbors threatening to kill our animals before because, or, because of our non-colonial genderness, or in the case of my partner. I would say my partner also considers themselves non-colonially gendered because, once again, like, colonialism has affected everybody. So, and, trans-adjacentness, non-binary adjacentness. So you guys are doing the best that they also can. Escape older than being a little bit flappy right now. But for anybody being like, what can we do? very much appreciate that. If you know anywhere that does safe space work, we've been doing that for a long time. We were doing that up in Lenape territory at 333 Arlington. Yeah, it's weird living, having lived on the street. It's the same name of the place that this happened to, and then, be begged to move into that space to create a safe space, and then COVID hit. And, instead of the landlord who we thought was our friend and begged us to move into the space to make it safe for people, instead having them be like, nah, y'all, everybody has to pay full rent, even though, everybody's dying outside. Yes, we did try to talk to them about, like all the things they could do that the government was helping out with people, for like deferring mortgages and et cetera, they didn't care. I had a feeling that's how things were going to go down, not necessarily COVID per se. But when we moved into the space and I did the Four Femmes, the now Okishinu, Four Great Mothers piece that is still with us here, for one of the resistance cafes out there, Lackawanna, which I wish actually was much more resistance than they sexual harassment, can attest to that on their own. But one day I was having prayer time in the front foyer area at 333. And I was in one of my modes of, just feels and stress, and I said, fuck white supremacy, and person who had begged us to move into the space, to make it a safe space, and the Latin family that lived above us was gentrifying that space, proceeded to respond really badly to that by doing the least possible direction, and got really additionally weird afterwards. It's not like she didn't know that it was like that before I moved in there. But so when COVID hit, she did do like everything in her power to remove everybody from the building, and we left of our own. I mean, is it really your own free will? Like, we didn't get evicted or anything. We were like, yeah, we leave. But it wasn't, we were asked to come here. Came here. This place is literally not habitable. And we proceeded to literally physically clean up. I'm not going to go into what was going on here, please. Along with, moving. So then went to the other space that Pam and at the time Divine, who passed there because of neglect. We went over there, both because here was getting weird, and the other space, it's not what happened. The domestic violence and trauma that happened there, not just to us, but to the animals. I wish these things had never happened, because then he would have died on a porch in the cold. So, I mean, he's safe and napping right now. We're doing everything we can continually for his health. We came back here. We were asked to come back here. We're going to be literally being violent constantly. Violence here existed, but it was in the background. It seemed like it was better than at the other space. But then when he came back here, I proceeded have conversations with people here about how I would not stay in a house that I appreciate, having shelter over it, et cetera, but I could not stay in a place that has meskeyi, for me using the actual words. I've had, it's weird, it's hot now when I'm saying certain things. This is kind of, and also that people being anti-Indigenous language against me, which is something that has been a staple here, including telling one of the Indigenous people that used to write. So since then, being here has meant if I'm here without my partner, and I'm this time doesn't count, and I've been told by the other person who lives, otherwise I'm going to get hurt. But that behavior is being upheld. Taking out to movie territory, Las Vegas, and for me to be here and taking care of these guys so that way they could get set up over there, get a job over there, get rolling with that, and then us move out that way. Especially because, on that area, there's actually health care and availability of, just like community that actually exists for not just Indigenous people. And I'd really love to be able to go up to Mi'kmaqui and just be around people, but also like gender spectrum healthcare, which does not exist here, especially because, this area is not only having their maliciousness, but anything they can about anything about BIPOC history and BIPOC reality. And in that, I know everybody uses just the B as just black, but I say black, brown, Indigenous, people of color, melanated people. And that erasure goes on throughout everywhere here. In addition to that, I have not had a single local business session with anybody here, despite everything I've been doing. We all know why. Because they don't like queer folk, they don't like two-spirit folk, they don't like Pwonach, they don't even know that word, because colonialism. They don't like Indigenous folk here. The list goes on. So we're doing our best to get out of here, which is we want to be continuing to empower and create, if necessary, spaces of safety. So therefore people who are in our situations can get a breather. So we can work on animal, and that includes human sanctuary, so we can be returning the land to its Indigenous inhabitants. Obviously, many nations, and I know this is going to like ruffle feathers, but hey, that's fine. I'll shake that off. I know many nations have a lot of issues with having been taken over by, and I say this as a light-skinned Indigenous person, there's diaspora, and so therefore diasporic, and so therefore, I'm not directly involved with Mi'kmaqi or with Olnu as much as I would love to be, but I'm a stranger, and therefore they are like, and that is sadly colonialism. But I don't think that should stop land from ever being returned. I think that just goes into, once again, how everybody just works on communicating with one another respectfully, because I get it. I know I have a lot of Accomack and out to me one of the ones, like, I don't know, that there are Accomack individuals that hate queer folk, because once again, colonialism. And that is why. But I still do think everybody can do the best they can to actually be getting along, and the biggest aspect of that is returning land. I was going to come on here originally and just keep it short, because obviously we're getting close to a half hour now, so I'll be saying. And just because I wanted to, as of like a while, and just remind everybody my opinion on Palestine, which is ceasefire, which is that there's no reason that anybody's should be policed and murdered. There's never a reason for genocide. Anybody trying to negate the fact that this is happening to brown bodies, mode and saying anybody that says that kind of stuff is automatically anti-Semitic. In my case, look at my tree. Because no. But additionally, with that, there's so much going on in the world right now, beyond also the Congo, and just really everywhere. I mean, everybody, once again, is looking a lot outside of the Western Hemisphere, but once again, in the Western Hemisphere, like, genocide continues against all black, brown, and light-skinned people coming from both indigenous heritages, forcibly enslaved heritages outside of indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, so that would be African, but also we can't discount the fact that the way folks from Asia and many other areas have been treated in this country is to levels of like beyond racial nightmare that one's in here. And so that's, I'm gonna try and keep this simple. I don't think Leonard Peltier should be in jail. I think they should be with their people, being rehabilitated in whatever way they need, and by that I mean their health. That said, people, please, why do people bring up Annie Mae Pictou Aquash's name as a throwaway? Say her name. Say her name as often as possible. I'm not against AIM, the American Indian Movement. That would be ridiculous and foolish. People have seen my artwork. They've also seen me putting the red peace sign. People to be talking about anything about us or just hemisphere once again. It's exclusionary because borders didn't used to exist here. Don't get me wrong. Everybody had territories. And not everybody got along. They were looking at it was necessary to the conversation. But like, when an indigenous woman is murdered, they're indigenous people. Or is thrown around, period, or disrespected, I don't know that is colonial brainwashing. Because I understand that it was I am as a person. So Costco called, which my family avoided as for another time. Guess what they did? Nothing. Guess what the schools did? Nothing. Except for telling me to go to detention. Typically triple detention. So I get it, y'all. Been like past childhood that I was paying rent for, like amounts of time during the day. Besides, just because my face and body hurts, and it makes it so I can't see out of one of my eyes sometimes, and it makes most of my face go numb, and my hands not work, and the list of name gets thrown around in that way. It's upsetting. It's about as upsetting as every single time I watch one of many black creators that I love watching who do throwaway comments about indigenous people. Mind you, that doesn't hurt anywhere near as much. Maybe it does. Maybe it hurts more. I don't know. And for everybody that's like, oh, indigenous people treat black people terribly. Honey, I know. That doesn't change the reality of the history. And the fact that, I mean, honestly, so many people are mixed together and should be banding together that everybody that's acting ignorant like that should be basically left to their own, like, over there, so everybody can actually be doing the work together. And what I was going to say was, does that hurt as much as every single time I, get to know some white, especially white queer or white trans person, who are like, oh, I'm a liberal or I'm a Democrat? I'm neither of those things. Those are garbage titles that don't actually stop racism. Just like, all the like interracial couples that are in media right now that are just getting you to buy products when it's not actually helping racism to stop in any way. Like that doesn't help either. But every single time I keep meeting so many people that identify as white here. And, I've met them all throughout my life. That's why I've done so many deep studies using my white perceptive self. To just try and educate people, and then when they find out what I actually am, the amount of violence that happens there from people that I may have known for over a decade. Anyways, I promised I was wrapping up. I guess I'll say it this way. To all the white folks out there, all the people out there that identify as white, and I know everybody that identifies as white comes from different backgrounds, and y'all should be getting to know your backgrounds more, especially pre-colonialism, because once again, it would help everybody out. Do yourselves a favor. The next time you find yourself having to tone police somebody is marginalized, be it because of the color of their skin, their age. We could keep listing. I'm going to stop there. Meskeyi, if I left anybody out, you can feel free to comment and be like, hey, and I will apologize. I'll be like, Meskeyi. Just stop talking maybe take a minute to take a deep breath. And while you're taking a deep breath, when the person is talking to you that you want to tone police, pauses, you can feel free to say to them, hey, it is on me to educate myself. You can be like, do you have any keywords? Just out. But don't be trying to tell somebody whose life perspective is the way it is because of being so oppressed by the society that is likely trying to kill them, that you have to enable that oppression by tone policing, by getting mad, by taking it personally. And it is personal. It is absolutely personal. But you make it a weird kind of personal when you make it about you having to get mad as a response, because that is absolutely enabling white supremacy. Fact. There's no way to get around that fact. Trust me, I've seen people try, and I've felt people try for going over 40 years now. I'm going to stop. I'm going to be doing my best to check in more here soon. You know, sing and just check in and not just be rambling about all this stuff. We've been watching The Wiz today. I just really appreciate it. Helped to actually ward off. Oh, here, I'll leave with a tip. If you are in a situation where you are, music is a huge help. Especially I found whenever I play Eastern Eagle or Hallucination by St. Marie. Cody Coyote came my way recently, and I've been really appreciating. Just like so many various different types. Wow, come back to me later. Joey Gould. There you go. Playing that type of music, especially when you get into like indigenous, like traditional chants and singing, does a really good job of warding a lot of certain types of people off, getting them to go the other way instead of bringing violence. But also like really putting on the Wiz and just playing it loudly, like wonders. Oh my goodness. So yeah, take care, y'all. We're still at, in and at the end of Native American Heritage Month. I do this because, once again, Native American is a term that has been generally applied to folks to the west of. You can be taking care of yourself while empowering your ecosystem interrelationally, because, like, why would you not? If you don't know how, feel free to hit me up and comment, because I don't mind talking. If you don't know how to look up your local indigenous nation, go on Google. And also, Native Land app is helpful. And this is not saying that you should only do that and then not look up all or as many as possible of the support for the Black and brown communities in your area, but additionally, and never excluding, the intersex, trans, non-binary, non-colonially gendered, two-spirit, which is an umbrella term, so everybody has their own term, and then the sexuality spectrum empowerment spaces near you. Don't worry, Wilder, I'm stopping. Take care, y'all. I hope to check in soon. I have to send a video over to my mom and my dad. I'm very proud of my mom, because my mom has had to, or has felt that they have needed to keep a lot of their emotions in about Thanksgiving for their whole life, that they did not keep it in an email this year to me and my partner, which we were both very thankful for, where they attached my dad, who I think really Sky House, but I really it allows just to use the data that's there.
Mhm.